Acclaimed crime fiction writer P.D. James was right when she said, "A novel is a good novel or not." It's foolish to say you can't write a good novel as a mystery. When it comes to Rebecca, written by Daphne du Maurier, of course there is an element of mystery in it. But just because of that, confining it only to the genre of mystery would be a great injustice to this wonderful literary piece of work. It has everything: intrigue, romance, beautiful prose, in-depth and round characters. I mean, it has all the qualities to become a classic, just like Jane Eyre, written by Charlotte Bronte, Wuthering Heights, written by Emily Bronte. Wait, I think I should say Rebecca, written by Daphne du Maurier, by all means is a classic. So today I have Rebecca for you. The novel was published in the year 1938 in the United Kingdom. Before I proceed, if you don't know who I am Shalet Jimmy, I'm from India, I love books, and I'm an avid crime fiction reader, hence they predominantly constitute my read and to be read list. But I assure you, I have other genres too. Welcome to Shalet Jimmy's Storyworld. Last night, I dreamt of Manderley again. She, a narrator, was talking about her dreams about Manderley. Manderley was a mansion, just like a manor house. A narrator was nameless and was living a life of an exile with her husband. In her dreams, she saw Manderley deserted and abandoned. The shrubs, the plants, the trees had encroached the drive and all around, giving it a ghostly look. When she first came to Manderley, like any other bride, she too dreamt of living a quiet and peaceful life with her husband, Max de Winter. But something sinister was going on inside the four walls of Manderley. Every wall of the mansion was yelling a name: Rebecca. Who was Rebecca? Rebecca was the first wife of Max de Winter, her husband. The woman died of drowning in the sea. Mrs. Danvers, the housekeeper of the Manderley, was an ardent devotee of Rebecca, and she intimidated our narrator. It's not as if she had to fight with the humans, but with the haunting and all-pervading presence of Rebecca. Rebecca was of course dead, but Manderley retained her undaunting spirit. Mrs. Danvers, the housekeeper, behaved and kept Manderley as if Rebecca had gone for a vacation and would be back any time. Our narrator felt helpless. She couldn't do much to alter the situation, as she couldn't risk losing Max, her husband, because she thought he was still in love with his first wife, Rebecca. Our narrator met Max in Monte Carlo, France, when she was accompanying a wealthy American woman called Vanoper as a paid companion. Her employer's illness provided her many opportunities to meet Max often, and eventually they ended up marrying. Now there were so many things going inside the Manderley. Our narrator thought everybody compared her with Rebecca. Beatrice, Max's sister, told her that she was nothing like Rebecca. And when she met Max's grandmother, who even in her senility insisted on meeting Rebecca, leaving our narrator all the more perplexed. When Rebecca was alive, they had their bedrooms in the western wing. And now, second Mrs. de Winter and Max used the rooms in the eastern side, which was comparatively smaller in size, for Max did not want to go to the western side. Why didn't he want to go to the western side? Coming back to Mrs. Danvers, the housekeeper had gone to such an extent that she was almost successful in convincing a narrator to commit suicide. It would have happened if the rockets were not fired, indicating that a ship was aground in the sea near to the mansion, and Max instructed everybody in the household to help the people in the ship. Now that gave our narrator a break. A year after Rebecca had gone missing in the sea, a dead body of a woman had washed upon the shores, and Max identified her as Rebecca. But much to everybody's shock, when the divers dived in to check the condition of the stuck ship, they came across a boat with the dead body of a woman stuck in its little cabin. The boat was Rebecca's. Now, who was that woman? What was the whole truth? But amidst all this commotion, something had happened that made our narrator, the second Mrs. De Winter, change completely. She was no longer afraid of Mrs. Danvers, and nothing in the world could prevent her from adorning the title Mrs. De Winter. What made her change? Why was the narrator nameless? Was it author's attempt to show that she never had any identity? There were so many questions to answer, and that makes Rebecca exciting. Kits Browning, Daphne du Maurier's son, once said his mother did not know what to call a narrator. The only thing a reader could make out from the book was that she had a beautiful surname and she was much younger than Max, her husband, who was in his 40s. But as the story progressed, Maurier took it up as a challenge to complete the whole story without giving a narrator a name. According to Daphne du Maurier, the story was a study in jealousy. Before marrying Daphne, her husband, Browning, was engaged to a lady called Jan Ricardo, who had dark hair like Rebecca. But Ricardo committed suicide by throwing herself in front of a train. But that had got nothing to do with Maurier's and Browning's marriage. But at times, Maurier felt that there was no lessening of her husband's attraction towards her late fiancé. Maurier had put all her qualities in both the female characters, though according to her son Browning, there were the traits of second Mrs. De Winter that could be seen in her mother. But just like Rebecca, she was very good at sailing and had all the toughness. The Gothic mansion, Manderley, will stay in our literary mind just like the Thrush Cross Grange of Wuthering Heights and the Thornfield Hall of Jane Eyre. Maurier conceived the idea of Manderley from Milton Hall, and she adopted the settings from Manablee, her house which was hidden away in the woods. Alfred Hitchcock, the legend, the master of suspense, and my favorite, directed Rebecca, and the film was released in 1940. I wouldn't be exaggerating if I said Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca was safe in the hands of Alfred Hitchcock. Though some alterations were made, he did not allow the essence of the book to erode. Speaking of the cast, Joan Fontaine, who played second Mrs. De Winter, was perfect for her role. She could bring out the emotions of a naive, timid girl beautifully. Olivia Lawrence played Max De Winter. I'm still at Manderley. Loved the book. If you like my review, please like, share, subscribe and comment. God bless.